definitely have this whole WWE polish that I don't like.
Yeah, a little bit on Tom Phillips, a little bit. That's just how I look at it.
It wouldn't be too bad if, like, because I'm not a fan of Cole either. And Cole, I fully understand he is a good commentator and he knows how to move the story along and things like that. But unless you have him and then two people that are not supposed to be that, it just doesn't. The dynamic doesn't work because essentially that's what Mike Tenay's job was, is to be that guy. And then you had Shivani that's really just a fan, kind of going along with it. And then you had Bobby being ridiculous. If I was to kind of set it up, I think a good mix might even be like Tom Phillips, Wade Barrett, and Samoa Joe.
Yeah,
kind of like a weird little mix that they got going there. Either way, so the next match was Ming versus Wrath, and one of the things that never really noticed before is Wrath was known as Adam Bomb in WWE, and with that, he had this whole character that his finisher, I think, was called Atom Smasher or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. With Wrath, he even has a move called the Meltdown, and it's kind of like that seems like it's paying tribute to his old character with WWF called the Atom Bomb.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the Wrath character, especially.
Yeah, and with that, I mean this match right here, Ming is just a big hoss battle. They're two big guys clubbing each other essentially.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Oh, we talked about it a number of times on the podcast, and a lot of people know it out there. Our listeners, when two big guys get in the ring, it's very big hit or miss, and it's I don't like it when two big guys draw things out, but they went pretty much in this match of hard hitting, and it was not over storied, it was not overdone. So I thought it was a great match for two big guys, just put power into it. So I thought it was great, and I actually 6.5. I thought it was pretty dang fair for Battle of the Titans match, man.
Right. Okay, I can appreciate that. I scored it a little bit lower at a 5, but that was mainly because like it had a couple high points, but there's a few rough points in there. Yeah, and this is not a dig at any of the guys. I just think they're just doing what they can work with. And you could tell Ming was really, really, really trying.
Yeah.
So go into this whole thing, and I vaguely remember this. Like I said, this is a nostalgia pay-per-view for me, but I don't remember WCW.com back in the day.
Really? You don't?
I don't. But at the same time, my family would not have paid for that.
Yeah, it's pay for internet.
We did not have internet until 2 years after this, I think.
Well, the internet, we did, obviously the old-fashioned way with the way it was back then with dial-up.
Right, that's what I mean. We didn't get dial-up internet. I mean, at the time that this came out, we did not have a computer in the house.
Yeah, it's they had WCW.com for a while. I didn't. That's probably after 90, barely 99, barely even pay attention to it. But because the interest was kind of like fading away. But WCW was pretty cool too, and I always liked where they went backstage and did the interviews like Lee Marshall did. And
that's what I was going to get to. I remember the interview, but I didn't remember it being for WCW.com. Like, I remember him talking with Kidman about the potential challenger between Disco Inferno and Hoovy. Yeah. It was just weird for me. I'm like, I see WCW.com and I see this guy typing. I'm like, this was a thing? Like, I don't remember that. I remember the hotline.
Yeah. I was about to get to that. It's like, the only thing I never got to do was the hotline. My folks didn't allow me to do that because it cost money. So they're like, I never got to do the hotline, but the internet over the website was able to look at that. So it was all right. It was pretty cool. So throwback.
Yeah, which this led into a match between Disco Inferno and Juventud Guerrera. I vividly remember these two matches that came up between about the cruiserweights. Disco Inferno. One of the things I appreciated about the interview is Kimmin brought up the fact that it's a cruiserweight match, and there's no way that Disco Inferno is underneath the weight requirement. He goes, whatever he's doing with the scales, whatever. But this was a decent match, and one of the things that I still laugh at to this day is he does the giant swing, and he lets go of Juventud, and he starts spinning around, and it falls over, and basically does a headbutt low blow to Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah.
So
that move that him falling a headbutt into the crotch, that is something from out of the books on Sting. Sting did that before. He did it a little bit during his Crow gimmick, but he did it before then. So that was something out of the books from Sting too.
I don't know, like, not that I don't believe you. It's just one of those things that this is the first time I saw it, and I still laughed at it this time, even though I knew it was coming.
Yeah, it was funny. I was like, first thing I thought about, like I said, was Sting, and I'm like, he did a little bit different kind of motion, but it was still he kind of like there's Sting stuff. But anyways, it was a cool match. I enjoyed it. It was good athleticism. I enjoyed watching seeing Disco with doing his little disco dance. I gave it that match a 6.5.
Yeah, I gave it a 6. I thought it was a good match between Juventud and Disco. It's one of those things where watching it, and this will come up later as well, where it's kind of like I wonder like what Disco could have done if he went to the WWE, because he definitely seemed like even if he wasn't going to be a champion, he was definitely a good person to put people in matches with just to make them look good.
Recently I had heard, I don't know when they had actually aired or was available online, but I actually recently heard the podcast with something wrestle with Bruce and Conrad, and Conrad brought it up and was like, why don't y'all sign? I was like, you know what? I don't even know if he was even interested. I don't know if anybody even contacted him after they bought WCW, but I'm not sure if he was even interested. Not everybody's interested in coming to WWE, and so I don't even know if anybody even contacted him, but it would be interesting if he had been in there. But yeah, like I said, just like you said, I'm not sure if he'd be a champion. He might just be there to put people over. But I thought it'd be interesting to see just for a short bit. But, hey, well, if you're gonna put a lot of the guys in there that was in there, especially Puff Bagwell, I think you can throw a Disco in there. Why not? But he may not have been interested.
It's funny you mentioned Buff Bagwell. I have a kind of an idea after we finish the review and like a discussion after, talking about what we could possibly do with the people that are on this show.
Yeah.
Like a fancy booking. But either way, next was a Scott Steiner promo that I kind of referenced earlier. And this is where, him and the Giant were talking about having a tag team match. And that they'll put up the tag team titles, because I guess originally it's supposed to be Steiner and Hall, but then Hall had a more personal match to deal with later. Mm-hmm. It's Scott Steiner. I mean, you get what you get with the promo from him.
Yeah, that's I had so many people around me copy his promo and like, Big Papa Punk, or where's the freak side around here? I just wasn't into it. It's like a lot of people were into it, man. I was Steiner fan, Scott Steiner fan, and Steiner Brothers. But after that, we'll cover that later on. I was about to say, but I just wasn't into it. But anyways, go ahead.
The next match ended up being Alex Wright versus Fit Finlay. This was an interesting back and forth. The only thing that kind of was the finale, if you will, is Alex moved out of the way of Fit Finlay running a shoulder into his gut, and Finlay hit the post. Wright hit a net breaker to win. What did you think of this one?
Oh man, it was a 3.
3?
Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. It just kind of something to fill up the card. I would say. I just finisher just wasn't my favorite, and just it didn't do justice for Finland, but it just wasn't really what I was into, and I didn't expect a lot. But nothing against either guys; they're both good wrestlers back in their respective times. But yeah. So that's just I went with 3.
I gave it a 4, but it's more or less. I agree with you. The ending wasn't great. I just am more impressed with the back and forth that they put on. That's really what it came down to.
Hey, talk about Alex Wright. I don't know if we're going to talk about him at all in the future, so I'm going to bring this up. What do you think about later on and after that gimmick? What did you think about when they prepackaged him as Berlin?
It could have been better. They are trying to cash in on Rammstein's popularity of being this hardcore rock group from Germany. It could have been way better.
Who?
There's a group called Rammstein that did a song right around when he came out like this called Du hast mich, which stands for You Hate Me. They were trying to cash in on that popularity, which if they would have repackaged him in a sense of making him a leader, kind of like they gave him the Wall, which Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I
didn't know about that that group you're talking about either. So
I was really into heavy metal back in the day, and that was a heavy metal group. So, and I actually know that song very, very well. Very odd video. Either case, with the Wall, I don't think that was a good person to stick him with. If anything, I would have definitely given him a couple people that would be protectors for him. And if he would have been a heel, like mastermind, it would have worked perfectly. But, people make mistakes. It might have not been the right character for him. It's just what I would have done to try and make him get popular, essentially.
Yeah, I won't touch base for that. I wasn't big into myself, but I don't know. Like you said, I don't know when we're going to talk about Rat again. So, anyways, that's about it for that one.
Right. Another interview with WCW.com. This time, Ernest Miller. Lee Marshall calls out the fact that Ernest Miller is stealing nicknames from other people.
That's a hilarious interview.
That's another person. Why wasn't he done well in WWE? I know he had a spot there briefly, but Ernest literally seemed like he had a character that would do well with WWE because he has this over-the-top character that thinks he's the best, and I don't understand why that comedy didn't carry over.
Go to quick thinking here, I would have to say that Vince really wasn't buying it. I guess he didn't see anything there. That's my initial guess. So,
and it might be because Vince doesn't like characters that he didn't create. Because I guess the ongoing story is when Vince saw Raven backstage, he goes, "Who the hell hired Johnny Polo?" Johnny Polo in years, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That's what the problem is. You don't pay attention to other people too. But, that's neither here nor there.
Irony of mentioning Raven here. Next match is 2 former Flock members, Lodi, which is Idol spelled backwards, versus Saturn.
I never even paid attention to that until you just said it. I never realized Idol Lodi.
Oh yeah, that's where it came from. Okay, so I listened to Raven Effect podcast, and he even mentioned that the reason Lodi's name was Lodi is because it was Idol spelled backwards and he looked like Billy Idol.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I actually didn't.
Yeah, that's what it was. And he specifically made the character kind of paying homage to the ECW sign guy. That's why he Lodi carried around signs.
Yeah. I remember that part of him. I do remember Lodi. I always call him Lodi, but I do remember his character. I thought his character was actually kind of entertaining, honestly.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like in this match, people started walking off with his signs, and he ran off to go get them, saying he needed them.
I remember that one, yeah.
And this match was one-sided completely. Saturn just dominated Lodi,
which I expected to, and I understand Saturn's get up too. It was cool to have him pay Homage to the Army Rangers too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.